Spend some time, as we did recently, in New York's family court and be a witness to the ways in which law and disorder works or doesn't. Stay long enough, you'll see it all. The battered child, the crack mother, the 10-year-old mugger, the burnt-out social worker, the nitpicking lawyer, all of them sloshing through the well-meaning swamp called the child welfare system. And you'll find presiding there Judith Scheindlin, Judge Judith Scheindlin. And if you find her a little bit shrill, a little bit testy, oh, she'd be very pleased.
Unless he's in a hospital, he's to be in school. Clear, sir? This is not a legal game, counselor. This witness may not have a terrific memory, but I've got a very good memory, sir. You have a lot more questions? Good. Well, what do you want me to give him, a testimonial dinner? Thank you very much. Step out.
She is a 5'2" package of attitude with a capital A. And pity the young lawyer who dares to question the judge's judgment.
Well, are you suggesting, Miss Gutierrez, that if I placed him on probation, he would never go visit his mother?
No,
are you
Judge.
suggesting that?
No,
so
Judge.
So let's be real.
To those who confront her, she is the evil queen in a lace collar.
If that's too hard for you, sir, I guarantee you I will put you someplace where you're going to be in bed at 9 o'clock and at school every day. That's where the rest of your friends are.
And she deals with legal procedures with a scalpel.
So your objection's noted. It's overruled. Have a seat. No, listen to me. This is not a tea party. You make an objection, I rule.
The players in this theater of misery are the judge, lawyers, caseworkers, addicted parents, and castaway children.
You make a fool of me again, sir, by not doing what you're supposed to do, and I guarantee you it'll be a very sorry day. We understand each other? Yes. The respondent is paroled to his father in conjunction with the Doge.
Unlike criminal court, there is no jury. Those present are supposed to work out a solution that is supposed to be in the best interest of the child. It is never easy.
This baby was born drug addicted, and if you keep using drugs, the other baby is going to be born drug addicted. And I'm telling you right now, you're not going to take this baby home from the hospital because the commissioner's not going to let you.
And when she feels the best interest of the child is to scare the living daylights out of him, she does not shy away.
Now for you, Joey, I want you to stand up, because I have a few things to say to you. I am dismissing this case, sir, because the law says that I must. That doesn't mean you're innocent, sir. That doesn't mean that you weren't involved in both of these robberies that night. That just means that they weren't able to prove it. We understand each other, sir?
Yes.
That little boy, 13-year-old boy, was sitting right here. And you were trying to scare the hell out of him.
Correct.
Do you think you did?
I don't know, but I try.
No, but do you think you really scared him?
I scared him not only by what I said to him verbally, but by the fact that when he was originally in the court, he was arraigned before another judge, and he was told to go to a particular program, an all-day school, and he didn't go. I said to him, we're not playing games here with you. This is the rule. You were told you were going to be paroled if you went to the alternatives to detention school. You didn't go to the school, you go to detention. I mean, if we're going to make orders, we have to be prepared to enforce them. Otherwise, everybody laughs at us and thinks that we're full of baloney. Right?
And baloney is what she hates. But lectures she likes a lot, likes to give them. And when a caseworker seems to be dragging his feet, there is the threat of nuclear response.
Sir, you don't want me to have palpitations, do you? What? Very bad when I get palpitations. You have to see to it that this visitation takes place. It's very important that this child get to see his mother and his grandmother. And the longer he spends not seeing his family, the more difficult it's going to be. Is that a fair statement, sir? Yes. Well, then let's just do it. The goal is to get them to do the right thing. Nobody who comes into my courtroom who's done the right thing is afraid. They're afraid if they come in and they do the routine thing, which is just give me a lot of rhetoric and gobbledygook, either one of two things are going to happen. Either they're going to say, I want off this case, I'm never going back there before that monster again, or they'll say, the next time I come in, I better have done my job better.
Do they ever mouth off at you?
Rarely.
Indeed. Robert Little, the commissioner of the Child Welfare Administration, had some choice words about the judge up until the cameras started turning. Then this.
She's always been very cordial, and, you know, we get along well as far as I know.
You get along well personally, but I don't think your agency gets along well with the judge.
Well, she talks to me a great deal about things that need improvement, as do a number of judges, and we attempt to make the necessary adjustments.
Why must a caseworker have 3 supervisors?
We have an initial supervisor 1 that is essentially a backup to the unit supervisor. The unit supervisor has a manager, a case protective manager, who supervises a number of units.
And very often, these 2 supervisors and this caseworker has another supervisor.
It's 4 so far.
Right. They are represented by a child welfare attorney who practices here in the court.
5.
5. Now, they get this 1 child. Usually it's more than 1 in a family, but let's say they get this 1 child. And the city decides we are going to subcontract the care of that child to a private care agency, another business. There are many of them, but it's a private agency. That private agency has a caseworker, a supervisor. That supervisor has a supervisor, and minimally, that agency also has a lawyer that we all pay for. Now, we are paying for 9 people
For 1 child.
for that child.
More than half the payments for family foster care in New York City go to kinship foster care, a program that enlists relatives, usually grandmothers, to look after abused or neglected children. While many people say it's an excellent way to keep families together, others, like Judge Scheinland, say it's a way to rip off the city for big money. And she has a favorite example.
Well, that was a foster mother who was a grandmother who had 6 children, 6 grandchildren with her, and the children were ultimately removed from her because they found the children living in abysmal conditions. This lady had been receiving $3,000 a month from the city
This is the grandmother.
the city to take care of the grandchildren. And when I asked her, what were you doing with the money? Her response to me was, I bought a house in Puerto Rico.
The judge says the system of paying a grandmother to be a foster parent, in theory, removing a child from a destructive mother, is an invitation for the whole family to cheat.
That money is tax-free. Nobody monitors what's done with that money. Nobody monitors how it's spent. I've had cases where both parents work for the Child Welfare Administration and their children are in kinship foster care. It was used like a babysitting service.
The judge's repetition of these horror stories has opened her up to accusations that she's insensitive to the needs of the people she serves, not least to the problems of caseworkers. The city would not allow its caseworkers to talk to us, so we asked Commissioner Little. Part of Judge Scheinland's problem with this agency is a caseworker comes in, often with as many as 3 or 4, an entourage of 3 or 4 people, of supervisors and a lawyer, and nobody in that entourage is familiar with the case.
Well, I've always been open to the judge's constructive improvement suggestions and would continue to be so.
But when they do come in like that, she beats up on them.
I don't have any personal observations of that type of thing, but I do get a number of reports that suggest that they're not held in high esteem.
New York City lawyers might feel the same after a session in Judge Scheinland's courtroom.
Mr. Wilger, because I run my courtroom, right?
I know you run your courtroom.
That's
I know
correct,
all
sir.
too well
The
you run
tail
your
doesn't wag the dog. So all I'm asking you is, you want me to order new reports or whether we will use the old reports?
Well, I just want to state my position, Your Honor.
That's denied.
My position
That's denied.
is that I believe
That is,
my
Mr. Wilger,
client,
Mr.
when many
Wilger,
things were going into with my client.
you
that
want new
weren't
reports?
appropriate,
You want new reports,
I
sir?
believe that those are on this
Oh,
report.
God
these
almighty.
reports, and I just...
Just tell me what you want, old reports or new reports, and I'll give you whatever you want.
Well, I believe that new reports should be ordered. I
Good.
believe
Order
that report should
new
be
reports.
Ordered because
Order
I believe that there are many
new-
statements that were
Good.
To Scheindlin, justice must not only be done and seen to be done, it must be seen to be done fast.
Could you please move on, Miss Allen? I have about 20 other cases to do today, Counselor.
Objections? Forget it.
Your Honor, I would object. I believe this is beyond the scope direct, and I would
Just a
ask that
second.
Ms. Allen adopt this witness as her own if she's going to ask these types of questions.
Okay, let me tell you this, so that you don't make that objection again. Since you have an objection on the 2 grounds that I made, sit down and don't interrupt this proceeding again. Sit down.
I was stating that...
Sit down. You have a standing objection. And if you want to state any other bases for your objection, I will direct that the reporter be here at 5 o'clock, because I have 30 other cases to do, and you can come in and put any ground that you want on the record.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good.
Miss Levy had only one more thing to say. Just read her lips. If you missed it, it rhymes with witch.
I worry that occasionally, because I'm outspoken, that somebody's going to say, well, this lady's not going to be reappointed. We're not going to give her another opportunity to beat our brains out. You know, we'll find somebody else who won't beat our brains out. I mean, come on, we understand what's happening here. This hand doesn't know what this hand is doing. And now we want...
Judge,
now,
all we're saying,
all I
Judge.
want you to say, Mr. Hill, is that I'll take care of it this week. You can put families back together again. You can find the right place for a kid who's in trouble. You can make a difference in the life of a family. And if you see a situation like that, and if you're not willing to commit yourself to breaking a sweat, then you don't belong in this business. Go to work in surrogate's court. Everybody's dead over there.
So much for her judicial colleagues. For 20 years, Judge Scheindlin has worked family court, first in the Bronx, now in Manhattan. She's the fastest judge in the system, nearly 300 cases a month, a judicial treadmill. She uses a real one in the gym where the machinery never talks back. Did you terrorize your own kids the way you terrorize other people's kids in court?
They ignore me. They knew at a very early age how to impose young Jewish guilt on their working mother. So although I tried to be intimidating, I don't think I was very successful.
She's had 2 husbands and raised 5 children, 3 of them following her into the law. Adam, a prosecutor on Long Island, said his mother maintained a unique code of justice at home.
There's the Court of Appeals, there's even the Appellate Division. But there is no appeals here.
It's Mom.
That's it.
Judy's law.
It's Judy's law. That's exactly what it is.
And festive family dinners are done in the traditional Manhattan way. They're ordered in.
You write another recipe? 212, dial. Food.
There are legions of caseworkers and lawyers who will go into shock at these scenes. The evil queen in the role of fairy grandmother.
Give me a kiss.
Given what you have to deal with every day, the degradation, the abuse, the pain, the suffering, God knows, what does it do to the judge?
What keeps me going are those few cases, maybe 10 a year. Maybe 10 a year. And I do maybe 1,000 cases a year. Maybe 10 of them I can make a real positive difference. That keeps you going. I try to get the best out of people who come before me. I try to give them my best, try to make the best possible solution very often out of a very terrible situation. I know it's just a Band-Aid, but it's the best Band-Aid I can put on it.
You think 10 years from now it's going to be better or worse here?
Worse. A lot worse.